full acquisition, or so your full implementation into Europe is going to take approximately a year and a half. Is that what I'm seeing by your blue arrow?
Well, we believe these are planning phases. So more importantly, understanding the market that you are entering into to ensure that you are going to be successful there. We don't believe that a full acquisition into Europe will take a year and a half. It's possible it might take longer. We are suggesting that taking that year and a half to ensure your plans your acquisitions are going to be successful.
But if it's such a rapidly changing industry, would a year and a half be too slow?
That is a potential risk. However, given the great financial position that RIM is currently experiencing, we believe that you can take the time to ensure that any acquisition is performed as close to flawlessly as possible.
So when you're looking at your acquisition strategy, is it your goal to acquire companies where you can basically take their research and exploit it by aligning it with your own products, or are you looking to sort of bring these companies into your fold and continue to sell their products? What type of acquisition are you looking for?
So when it comes to acquisition, we're actually looking towards both options. That's what the acquisition inquiry team is for, to see when we do make these acquisitions, why we're making them. We do want the technology that is currently being used, being developed, and we want to integrate it into our own, as well as the great mature talent that they have, because those mature assets will be of great benefit to the company.
And would you be looking to have all of those companies operate under RIM's banner, or would you have them keep their own names and sort of share the resources behind the names?
We believe that it could be a case-by-case basis. If there is a company that has a great name and already a lot of goodwill with the public, it would be more beneficial for us to leave that company as separate as possible, at least visually, from the company.
You mentioned that you're going to acquire some with debt and some with equity, and that's very vague. Can you tell me how much this process is going to cost?
We have budgeted for, you can hit the appendix, thank you. So we budgeted for about $730 million in terms of both the North American and European expansion. As per industry standard, acquisitions are ranging between $400 to $500 million. However, with the current economic downturn in North America, we do believe that we can acquire a North American company at a lower investment cost. So in terms of high control risk companies, if we feel like there may be potential risks in their technology or their management, we are leaning towards more debt financing because it is more stable and secure. We are also looking to use this as an opportunity to improve our relationships with the banks and accrue a good interest pattern. In the future, if you want to go towards more global expansion, you will have that good relationship built up with the bank. In terms of lower control risk companies, where your acquisition inquiry team has said this is a good investment, very, very low risk, we believe that equity financing will be suitable for those options. With your net income of $1.2 billion, we believe that you are more than able to finance those smaller purchase options if they are in a secure market.
And just a quick follow-up question. How much cash do you plan, because you said some is debt and some is equity, how much cash do you plan for to be spending over the next 3 years?
In total, so we plan to split up the debt to equity more towards 65 debt to 35 equity in terms of percentages. We plan to focus your equity financing more in terms of the North American market. Okay. So that would be, doing math in my head,
Just make it up.
$300 million in terms of cash financing.
Does that create any cash flow problems for us in the short term?
No, your company is in a great position in terms of net income. Like you said previously, your revenue has been growing at an exponential rate at close to 70% year over year. We believe that cash flows will not be a problem for you. You have been very successful in your industry and you have a growing loyal customer base.
Tell me again what your acquisition team is made up of. Senior leaders, some accountants, and some researchers.
Yeah, we'd be looking at senior tech executives, so people who understand the business side of things or the engineering side of things, as well as management executives who would understand the business side, and finally an accountant for the finance aspects. Certainly we understand acquisitions are a large undertaking when it comes to the financials.
And so how would you select those people? Would you put that out to your current employee base as having them apply in for interest, or would you hand select? Do you already have that team identified?
We would think leaving it up for an application, this provides a wonderful opportunity to move people up in the company. By having this executive team put together, it leaves holes in our company that we can bring people in your company that you can bring through up the ranks. This creates more jobs and also allows for growth within the company.
You have talk about a lot of acquisitions, bringing a lot of new companies in, but then you also talk about culture and how you have to make sure that culture is integrated really well, and pay discrepancy between different regions. Would you see that as a problem going forward when you acquire someone in North America at a different region and then someone else in Europe, and they're all engineers, but they're all being paid a different amount, but they all work for the same mother company?
Thank you for your question. So in regards to company culture, as Graham had mentioned, when people move up, part of that can be sending existing employees from the Waterloo head office over to the new established branch to instill the company culture and ensure that all values are passed on to employees. And sorry, what was the second part of your question?
Just
Pay equity.
Hmm?
Pay equity?
yeah, pay equity.
Like how are you reconciling between different regions?
Oh,
and
because
pay
of the
rate?
different wages. Gosh, I don't know, sorry.
Would you like me to take over on this?
Sure.
Absolutely. We recognize that a lot of multinational companies have similar issues. We believe that we do our best to model ourselves off of a company that operates globally. So the larger companies of the world, stuff that operates in different global areas, we believe that they'd have a similar model that we could adopt.
Just building on that question, who on the acquisition team would be responsible for sort of understanding the culture of any company you might acquire?
We believe that the software engineers would be the best place to start. As we've mentioned, unfortunately, one of the weaknesses in your company is senior management having a little bit of a resistance to change. We believe that software engineers might be a better place to start in terms of knowing what the needs are for those frontline employees.
If senior management is not open to change, but you guys are acquiring more companies, is that a change for them?
It is absolutely a difficult position to put them in. Any option that we look at is going to have those risks. It is why we mentioned it right off the start. It's a mitigating factor regardless of which alternative you look at. It has to be addressed in order to ensure successful growth in the future.
I just have one more question. You said we're making a lot of money, we're doing really well, we're crushing our current market. Why don't we just keep doing what we're doing?
Unfortunately, at some point you will. Oh, did you want to?
I did.
Oh, my
actually.
apologies.
As we mentioned, national growth isn't aggressive enough. You are growing year over year. However, your competitors have taken the expansion strategies. They are looking to grow their customer base, become global powers. If you don't take the steps required to keep up with your competitors, you're not going to last in the industry. You need to maintain your sustainable growth. You need to keep pushing with the current market trends. If you don't, you will fail.
As the CEO of BlackBerry, though, I feel like our company's positioned for the future. I can't see any other companies taking us down in any way, shape, or form.
I understand that.
You can't, eh, Darren?
That was a joke question.
Well, not lasting long.
You mentioned about staying up to date. Currently, our projections, we were doing fairly good due to our R&D department, but we've been lacking in R&D, and our growth has been doubling. So from our projections, we should have at least doubled our workforce. How are we going to sustain our R&D growth if you're putting in a one-year plan without updating our R&D team by at least triple?
This is an ongoing concern, of course. We expect that operations will continue apart from these expected projects. So hiring ongoing, especially updating the hiring systems, as we mentioned at the start of the presentation, is crucial. Upgrading those hiring systems are going to ensure that you are getting more candidates and retaining those good employees. Aside from that, it is a challenge, and we believe that acquisitions is the best way forward.
Thank you.
Question? No, this is good.
Sweet.